Hello again, whoever it is that's wanting to learn about Google Sheets. Thank you for coming to watch another one of my videos. This one is going to be about setting up charts on Google Sheets. Like any spreadsheet, one of the cool things you can do with Google Sheets is you can use it to create great looking charts, and it doesn't take very long to do something like that either. So I have my data here from the two previous videos. I showed you how to do an equation for calculating the population density, and we made some copies of the data and then changed it to sort it by population, highest to lowest, and by area, highest to lowest, and by population density, highest to lowest. And I'm going to show you how to make some charts using these three tabs here with the population, the area, and the density. So I'm going to start with the population, and this is a really simple case because I've got two columns here with the data. One is the countries and one is the population. So if I want to do a chart of the countries with the 10 largest populations on Earth, I will just select the data for the 10 largest as well as the headings up there. So I'm going to select country. And let me go do this again. I'm going to select country and then click and drag all the way to the population for Japan. That selects the data right there. Okay, so I click in the top left cell and drag and release once I'm down to the bottom right cell. Then I need to create the chart. I can either go to the chart button on the toolbar, or I can go to the insert menu and choose chart. So I'll go with that. We get a chart editor that lets us make some choices about what the chart is going to look for. I want to change this to a column chart, so that's the type of chart. There's some other ones here. If you want to get into a whole bunch of different kinds of charts, you can go to the chart tab at the top of the chart editor here, but I want a column chart, which is right there. And clicking on that, I can see it's done a really decent job of setting up the chart. The bars are all there for the chart. It's got the countries labeled along the horizontal axis. It has the number in the population along the vertical axis, and just by clicking on that and choosing the chart type, we've already got a really good chart. But there are a couple of things that I want to change. One of the ways that you can make changes to the chart is by going to the charts tab right here. Or sorry, to the Customize tab right here. That's the one. And there are a few things we can do. First of all, it says here for chart title. Well, I can change the title of the chart. Let's say I want to change this to largest population or largest countries by population. Largest countries by population. Okay, and press tab and you can see that changes the title right up there. And I can make other changes as well. If I wanted it to be italicized, I could do that. I could change the font size. So that looks pretty good. I'll leave it like that. The legend right here, the legend is the little box that tells you what each of the different colors stands for. Well, for this one, the color stands for population for all of the countries, and that's kind of obvious from what I have over on the vertical axis on the left side. So I don't really need a legend. I'm going to get rid of that and change that to none under chart here. And one other thing I want to do is I want to add an actual label or title for the vertical axis over on the left hand side. So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, and this is where you have to do some poking around in order to see where things are. Right here it says axis horizontal. What I want to do is I want to change that to left vertical, and I'll change the title to size of population. I can also change the font, and I can change the color or the font size. I can't change the font. I can set the minimum and maximum values for the data that I want to have graphed, but usually it's pretty good as is. So I'm just going to leave that, and again press tab, and you'll notice that the title comes up over on the side. I think that's good enough for now. What I'm going to do is just press insert and move this over to the right here. there's an area on the top of the chart where you can click and drag it around, and if you don't click onto that part, you can't move it. So make sure you grab it by that part if you're wanting to drag it along. The chart's looking really good, except I actually should change this horizontal axis title. I don't have to go back into that chart editor dialog box again. I can just click on the horizontal axis title here, and it has a little dialog that pops up there, and all I have to do is put in the new title. I guess I'll just call this country. Press enter, and then click off of it to get rid of that little dialog box where I entered that in, and now we see that the label down the bottom is country. So that is a very quick, straightforward kind of chart. Now this is a special case because in this case the country and population data were in two columns that were side by side. So I could select all of them all at once just by clicking from the top left cell to the bottom right cell. What would I do if I had a couple of sets of data that were not in adjacent columns? Well, that's exactly what happens here in the area data that I've got here. So I have all the different countries of the world sorted this time for area, not for population. Again, I want to make a chart that shows me the countries with the 10 largest areas. So I'm going to click on country, and I'm just going to select the labels to start with. So there's the 10 largest countries by area: Russia, Canada, United States, China, Brazil, Australia, India, Argentina, Kazakhstan, and Algeria. And now I'm going to select Insert Chart to get started on that. And everything else I'm going to do, I'll do in the chart editor window here. First thing I want to do is I want to select the ranges, because I've got A1 to A11. I've got that first column worth of data for the 10 largest countries. I've got their names. Let's select ranges, and I want to add another range. I want to add in some more data to put into my chart, and the data that I want to add into it is the actual area. So I'll click on the top cell there and drag down until I've got all of them up to and including Algeria's population. It's worth checking here to see that the numbers for your data sets match. The letters are different. I've got A and C, that's the column, but the numbers should match. And that's the information that I want, so I'm going to press OK, and let's go and make this a column chart. You can see here it's got the word country as one of the labels on the horizontal axis. If you find something like that, one thing you should check is if you do have the top row selected with the headers for the data, make sure that you check on this little checkbox here, and that gets rid of it and just leaves us with the names of the countries. And I think everything else I'm going to be able to edit once I have the chart inserted, so I'll just click on Insert. Again, I'll go over to this top part and drag it. I'm going to give the chart a title. Let's call it Largest Countries by Area. And the left vertical axis, I guess the numbers what that's telling me is the area in square miles. The legend, I've got the label over on the left hand side for the vertical axis, so I don't really need to have the legend there. Again, I'll go and I'll select that and I'll say none, and that gets rid of that. And the horizontal axis title, I should just put country there, press enter or return, and that puts there, and then I'll just click out of that little box, and I can see I've got the nice chart there. I'm going to click off of it so we can see what it looks like in the spreadsheet. There we go, really nice chart, very quick, of the different countries, top 10 countries for area, and that again didn't take very, very long. The only extra step was having to select the data in 2 steps because it's not, they weren't in adjacent columns. One last go around here. Do this one really quickly in review. I'm going to graph the top 10 countries by population density. That's in column A and column D. So let's select our names of the countries here. And I'm going to insert a chart. I know I'm going to have row 1 as header, so I'm going to click that right now. I want to select the range, and I'm going to add another range. And the other data I'm going to include, as well as the names of the countries, is the population density. So I'll do that and select those ones. And I'm going to check the numbers do match. So I'm going from row 1 to 11 in column A and row 1 to 11 in column D. All good. Press OK. Just to make this one different, I think I'm going to choose a bar chart. Very similar to the column chart, just arranged, flipped horizontally. So that's pretty good. I'm going to maybe add a couple of things here. I want to have a title down here for the horizontal axis to tell me that these numbers are the population density in people per square mile. So I'm going to go to Customize. I'll change the chart title here. I'm going to change that to greatest population density, I guess, for the title. That's looking good. The legend, I don't want. And I'm going to go to here, it's horizontal axis, and I'm going to give it the title of population density. And that's going to be people per square mile. Press tab and you can see that that comes in. That's actually looking pretty good. I don't know if I need to do anything else with that, so I'll press insert, drag this over, and I've got a really nice graph with the population density using a bar graph this time instead of a column graph. One kind of minor little detail before I end this video is just to point out why it is that I chose to have 3 different tabs, one each for population, area, and density. Why didn't I just make all the charts using the one same sheet instead of having to duplicate the sheets? Well, it's a really good question, and there's a very straightforward answer. Let's stick with this one right here, and I've got this graph for the greatest population density. Let's say on the same sheet I also want to have a graph for the greatest population. So I'm going to now resort this so I have my data sorted for the greatest population. Right? So I'm going to sort for population. I'm going to sort the sheet Z to A. Now watch what happens over here with the names of the countries and these bars when I select sort sheet Z to A. Is it's now showing me, it still shows the population density, but it doesn't show me the largest population densities in the world. It's showing me based on the size of the country. So this is a really nice graph of the population density of the 10 most populous countries, but it doesn't tell me anything about the population density of the 10 countries that have the greatest population density. So that is why I had to do that on 3 separate sheets. One I sorted for population density, one I sorted for area, and one I sorted for population to match what it was that I wanted to sort and graph for on that chart. So that's why, in case you were wondering. I wouldn't want that to keep you up at nights wondering what was going on and if that guy on the YouTube videos really knew what he was talking about. So that's the 3rd video in the Google Sheets series for now anyway. More might be coming up. If you have any requests, leave them in the comments, and hopefully that helps you get going on charts and some other things on Google Sheets.